Good morning. Today is the full moon. We Full moon in Sag. It began this morning at 3:42 a.m. I'm a little bit late putting this out, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to talk about this, yeah, pretty intense moon and share with you the way that I see the energies playing out. So let's look at the chart. All right. Here it is. So as you can see, the sun and the moon oppose each other at 20 degrees, 38 minutes of Sag is where the moon is. The sun is in Gemini at the same degree. So this full moon, as with all full moons, is an integration. And if you remember, we talked about 2 weeks ago, the new moon in Gemini, where we were going to be gaining a new perspective about ourselves and about how we self-actualize in the world. And now, at the opposition, we've been gaining this new perspective. And in the sign of Sagittarius, what we're talking about is this expansion energy and truth. Like, what is the truth? And what do you believe the truth to be? And as we talked about before, with Gemini, everybody's got a different perspective. Therefore, everybody has a different truth. And I think that during these times, because the Pluto has moved out of Capricorn and we're coming to a place where we see the reality very differently. I mean, everything is changing and we are each developing our own perspective of what is happening. And so I'm sharing with you mine and looking at the chart, I can, yeah, describe what I see. So the moon in Sag, the moon and Cancer, and also the fourth house are the energy of the self-identity. It's the ego, it's the place where our emotions sit. It's the emotional realm. It's how we feel on the inside. And expanding from Sagittarius, the truth, the emotions of our truth, um, the expansion of how we feel, or really the expansion of the awareness of our feelings is how I have been looking at it. So it's an interesting thing. Um, when you look at the moon in Sag, my go-to place to really try to pinpoint what exactly this is to look at Jupiter. And Jupiter is in Cancer at 0 degrees. So Jupiter and Mercury is also in Cancer. So the energies of both the sun and the moon are in Cancer, right next to each other, conjunct. And I think that's really significant. Um, a few days ago, today's the 11th, so 3 days ago, Jupiter and because it's the last degree, it's an intensity. So it's a change of perspective. And then the very next day, they both moved into Cancer. So, and as you can see here, Mercury is a little bit ahead, but still conjunct. We're really at this degrees, we're beginning to see what these new perspectives are. And it's about Cancer. It's about the emotional realm. And as it's expanding, we're getting a new perspective, is how I see that conjunction. So, a couple of other things that I wanted to talk about that really kind of link this for me. Not only did Jupiter and Mercury move into new signs, but also Venus moved into Taurus. And Taurus is about the body, it's about survival, it's about our values, and it's about how we and our needs and how we get those needs met and what we value. And as I've talked about, while Venus was running through Aries, we were beginning this new cycle to value things differently, value ourselves differently. A new set of values has been instilling itself. And as Venus moves into Taurus, this is where we incorporate it into ourselves. We have explored the energy through Aries and we incorporate it. So Venus rules Taurus and it rules the self side, um, because Venus is about relationships, but it's the relationship to ourselves in Taurus, whereas it also rules Libra and it's the relationship to the external world. And they reflect each other. So, but right now, the universe is pointing to ourselves. One, because the moon is in Sag and Jupiter is in Cancer. This is what we call a repeated theme. The energy is exactly the same and they are reflecting each other. So it's very internal perspective shift. And Venus in Taurus also brings it to the inside. We're looking at ourselves here. And one more thing I'll bring up before I tie it all together is that Uranus is coming to the end of its journey through Taurus, where we are really breaking apart and detaching from the values that we've held as a culture, for a very long time. We've been working through for the last 7 years of breaking apart our value system because new values are coming in. And I think that um, the Venus and the Uranus are working together to bring this in. So something new is happening and something old is going away. Now, the values. The Sun and Venus are sextile to each other. If I click on the Sun for you, oh, they're not sextile, I'm sorry. They are semi-square. And the semi-square is it's like the place where we start to internalize what's happening. And this new perspective that we are self-actualizing is linked directly to these survival needs that we have. So we're gaining this new sense of survival. Oops, sorry. This new ability to um, connect with our bodies is how I see this. Because our bodies have um, carry energies and the ability um, to get information and give information. We receive information through our bodies. And typically what's been happening through our time on Earth is we've been looking at the mind as being the most important thing and the way that we um, take in our reality. And I think what's happening here is the body is really important, and the heart. And I'll say that the heart is also important because we know that Mars has been traversing through Leo, and Leo is the heart. Leo is the true self, the place from which our energy wants to express. So Chiron, here, I know I'm jumping around here, but these are the things that are popping up for me. Chiron and Mars are in an exact trine right now. And I think that is also extremely significant because Chiron has been helping us to heal the wound that allows us to step in as our true selves. If we think about how much self-suppression we do so that we don't get ostracized or kicked out of the group, or as children even, you know, to keep from being fed even, we have to fit in. We have to change ourselves and mold ourselves so that we can fit into a societal norm. Chiron running through Aries is helping us to heal that wound because ultimately the Pluto in Aquarius is having us break out of all that conditioning so we can really find that true self. And Mars through Aries is also helping us to really begin to come in through the heart. The reason I bring Mars into this is because Mars is how we action our Pluto. And coming from the heart has been said to be another brain. We feel with our heart. We've heard the saying, "I know in my heart." That is an example that it's not necessarily the brain. Both organs give information. And so now I'm tying it all back in. So when I say that the moon is in Sagittarius, we are really expanding the perception of what our emotions will do for us. And a lot of these planets are pointing to a shift in perspective where we are instead incorporating not just our minds into what's happening and what people are saying and all of that, but we're really having to come together with our thoughts and our heart, with both organs. Both are a gift that we can put together and really determine our own personal truth. And I think this is what we're integrating with this full moon. So the other thing that's really important here is that both the sun and the moon are squaring the nodes. And the nodes are, the south node is our past sense of self, where we've come from and how we've seen ourselves in the past. And the north node is our future sense of self, like where we are evolving toward, how we will identify ourselves in the future. In the sign of Virgo, we are looking at the details. We and when we look at the details of reality, we are separating the whole into the parts so that we can see them and really understand what the details are. You know, it's like looking at the engine of a car. You know, you see the whole engine, but if you can pull the engine pieces apart, you can see the details of how the whole is working. And so as we have identified ourselves as parts, this is like seeing ourselves as separate. We see ourselves as separate from each other. We see our cultures as separate from each other. We see, um, and that's fine for understanding the details. But if we begin to think that this is the reality, then we have a lot of problems. And we've all worked through and experienced the problems when we see ourselves as separate. Truly, we aren't separate. We're all sitting here on this earth. The trees are here, the animals are here, the insects are here, and we're here. It's a whole. And the North Node in Pisces is showing us that in the future, we will identify ourselves as the whole. Now, once we can do that, I feel like we can, stop the destruction of parts of the earth and the fight with other people and begin this new um, reality that sees us as all part of the whole and that we're all working together to evolve humanity and really evolve whatever this experiment we're living through. So this is the South Node and North Node. Now we've got Jupiter, we've got the Sun, the Moon, uh, and Jupiter, both opposing, uh, both squaring the nodes. And this is significant. When you have squares, they mean that we are having to change. Like there are corners, you have to change directions, on an angle. We're changing directions. And to do this, it can be difficult. It requires a choice. You have to, you have to make choices to change. If you keep doing the same thing, nothing will change. You literally have to choose. And we all have free choice and we all have the ability to choose. And so essentially what's happening here is this, we're moving from this seeing ourselves as separate to seeing ourselves as part of a whole. And it's a matter of perspective shift, and it's also a matter of expanding our emotional fields. We have to expand our sense of self to be able to see ourselves in that way. And Jupiter in Cancer and the Moon in Sagittarius is pointing to that. Also, Mercury in Cancer in a new phase conjunction to Jupiter is showing us that we have begun the perspective change. And so joining the heart and the mind together, which I have talked about, we've been working through these energies, but I feel like it's coming in where you can feel with your heart the direction that you need to go and use your mind to determine out the details and see this very specifics of it. But if you work with these two energies together, I feel like there'll be an expansion of consciousness and also leading to Pluto, which is our goal essentially is to break free, to begin to come from our heart. We have to be able to balance off the mind and the emotions. And it's interesting. I did write in my Substack account, which I will post at the comment section after I'm finished recording. But I did talk about how emotions have really been pushed down in our society. Men have been taught to not be emotional, and it's been, like a negative energy around females. And so what's happening now is this integration, this awareness that our emotions are very, very important. And we're just beginning this, and it will take us some time, but um, I think that this can be a system, a new system of navigating our ways through this lifetime as we continue forward, where we have been guiding ourselves through the mind and through communication and through what we hear. It's like the mind can be manipulated. People can tell us untruths, and then there's a belief in something, but the heart can never be manipulated because it comes from within you. So you have to balance off what's happening from within and what's happening from without. And I think that together, these two organs and these two abilities that are coming online for us are helping us to navigate personally what to do and how to be. Um, we're all experiencing a big shift in the world, and we're coming from a place where we've been told what to do. You know, Pluto and Capricorn is this energy where we're breaking apart this external, like parent figure, where we have people telling us what to do and how to be and how to act. But we're all given these tools from the inside. And what I think what's coming online is the ability for us to guide our own future and to really become who we were meant to be. Um, Not that the journey that we've been through till now wasn't important. I think it was very important because it gave us an awareness of what life looks like when we see ourselves as separate. We all know what that is now. And so I think that it's time to, and so does the universe with this conjunction right here, to crystallize a new sense of self, a new sense of self that sees itself as whole. And yeah, so that's what I see um, in this chart. And I hope that I didn't jump around too much and that this was helpful for you to understand. Um, yeah, and I appreciate you listening to me. And yeah, I will post my report in the comment section, and I'll also post my website. And if you're interested in any consultation or how these energies are working through your chart, please check into my website, and maybe we can get together and I can help you to understand what's happening for you in your life. So have a wonderful full moon in Sagittarius, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.